Hello students, after studying this module, you shall be able to understand the contemporary theories of motivation, describe the features of contemporary motivation theories, know the nature of contemporary motivation theories, analyze the contribution of each theory, and identify the differences between the theories of motivation. Introduction. Motivation at workplace has been known ever since the work itself came into being. The study of work motivation progressed through many stages as the time passed and the work evolved in response to the changes in outside world. The last module focused upon the early theories of work motivation. Those theories provided a strong foundation to further study motivation in contemporary world. With diversification of work demands and work practices, work motivation needed to be redefined. Early theories lacked on certain aspects which proved to be indispensable to tap in the changes of contemporary organizations. Therefore, contemporary theories were propounded in a bid to better explain the dynamics of motivation specific to the modern organizations. This module deals with important theories of motivation relevant to the contemporary organizational scenario and workplace features. Motivation contemporary theories. Under contemporary theories of work motivation, we have the expectancy theory of motivation as given by Victor H. Vroom in 1964, equity theory of motivation given by John Stacey Adams in 1965. We have the goal-setting theory of motivation given by Edwin A. Locke in 1960s, and the Porter-Lawler model given by Lyman Porter and Edward Lawler in 1968. The contemporary theories of work motivation were developed with the foundation on the early theories of motivation. The requirement for these theories was felt because the early theories were failed to garner popular empirical support and failed to explain certain aspects of motivation which emerged as a result of evolving organizations. On the contrary, the contemporary theories of motivation have been validated repeatedly. These theories are called contemporary not because they were developed recently, but because they represent the current way of explaining employee motivation. Some of the important contemporary theories of motivation shall be discussed now. The first is the expectancy theory of motivation. The expectancy theory of motivation was proposed by Victor H. Vroom in 1964. It is also called as the VIE theory. This theory has its roots in the cognitive components of human motivation. Vroom was the first to directly apply cognitive concepts to the field of work motivation. He proposed this theory in response to the early theories which, in his opinion, did not address the complexity of motivational process. Now let's talk about the assumptions of expectancy theory. Victor Vroom's theory is based on 4 assumptions. First, people joining an organization carry with them their expectations and have certain needs and motivations. These expectations and needs shape the way they behave in the organization. Second, the behavior of an individual is a result of his or her conscious choice. People behave in a manner which is consistent with their expectancy calculations. Third, different individuals within the same organizations have different demands based on what is important to them. For example, for one individual, good salary could be of paramount importance, while for the other, job security could matter the most. What people want from an organization varies from one person to another. And fourth, people will weigh available alternatives before choosing from among them so as to optimize outcomes for them personally. Coming to the key elements of the theory. The expectancy theory has three key elements. First is valence, second is instrumentality, and the third is expectancy. Hence we call it as the VIE theory. Each of these three elements will be discussed now one by one. First is expectancy. Expectancy in simple terms means an individual's belief that his or her efforts will result in attainment of desired goals. It is a person's estimate that effort, job related, will result in a given outcome or the level of performance. It is a probability basically which ranges from 0 to 1. Expectancy is said to be 0 if the employee sees no chance that his or her job related effort will lead to performance level desired by them. It is 1 in the case of employees is certain of attaining the desired performance level. Second is instrumentality. Instrumentality describes the extent to which a certain level of task performance is going to be instrumental in achieving various work outcomes. It is an individual's estimate of the probability that a certain first level outcome, here task performance, will lead to attainment of a second level outcome, that is a reward, for example promotion. This second level outcome is seen as a reward which may come in the form of a pay increase or promotion or recognition or a sense of accomplishment. Instrumentality also ranges from 0 to 1. The third is valence. Valence refers to the strength of an individual's preference for a particular outcome or reward. It is the value an individual attaches with an outcome based on his or her needs, demands, or expectations. Valence can be positive, negative, or 0. Valence is positive when an individual prefers to attain an outcome to not attaining it. On the other hand, if the employee prefers to not attain that reward, then valence is negative. Valence is said to be 0 when the employee is indifferent to a reward. Therefore, it ranges from -1 to +1. Same outcome or reward might hold different valences for different individuals. For example, salary, promotion, recognition by supervisors, job security, or any reward might have more or less value to different employees. Vroom gave an equation to depict the relationship between motivation, expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. According to Vroom, motivation equals to a product of expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. The multiplier effect in the equation would imply that higher levels of expectancy, instrumentality, and valence will result in high levels of motivation. It also means that if any one of the three factors is 0, the overall level of motivation will also be 0. The three key elements of the expectancy theory give rise to three relationships which are crucial in determining the motivational levels of an individual employee. First is effort-performance relationship. It deals with the perception of an individual that a given amount of effort that he or she puts in the job would result in a given level of performance. Second is performance reward relationship. It deals with the belief of an individual that performing at a particular level will result in the attainment of a desired outcome or reward. Third is rewards personal goals relationship. It deals with the extent to which the attained rewards or outcomes satisfy an individual's personal goals and the degree to which these goals are valued by the employee. In sum, the theory states that an individual will be motivated to act when he or she sees that effort will lead to an outcome and the outcome will lead to a reward which is desirable. For an individual to exert a high level of effort, three relationships must exist. First, the individual must believe that high effort will result in high performance. Second, the individual must perceive that high performance will be rewarded. And finally, the reward being offered must meet an individual's goals or needs. Now, talking about the assessment of the expectancy theory, the expectancy theory contributed constructively to the study of motivation. It reflects the importance of individual differences in work motivation. It identified several important alternatives that can be adopted to motivate employees by modifying the person's effort to performance expectancy, performance to reward expectancy, or reward balances. It appreciates the complexities of work motivation, unlike the early theories of motivation. Despite this, expectancy theory has been criticized for its assumption of human beings to be calculative, which is too idealistic. It also fails to specifically state exactly what motivates organizational employees. Now, coming to the next theory of motivation, it is the equity theory of motivation, which was proposed by John Stacey Adams in 1965. It focuses on the imbalance between people's inputs given to a job and the outcomes received in exchange. This theory highlights the comparison feature in motivation, where people try to compare the ratio of their inputs and outcomes with that of others. This is also a cognitively based theory which takes consideration of people's perception. First, let's talk about inputs and outcomes. Every individual invests a huge amount of time and effort into their job. This is just one of the many ways people give something to their jobs. These are referred to as inputs. What they receive in return of their efforts is termed as the outcomes. Inputs can be like time, effort, loyalty, hard work, commitment, ability, flexibility, enthusiasm, determination, skill, etc. And outcomes can be job security, salary, employee benefit, expenses, recognition, reputation, responsibility, praise, sense of achievement, stimuli, etc. Now, talking about equity and inequity, equity theory makes the assumption that people will compare their job inputs and outcomes with those of others. Equity occurs when they perceive that the others receive equivalent returns in exchange of their efforts as they do. On the other hand, if they believe that they are giving in a lot to their job and not receiving back as enough as others, inequity results. This inequity is a result of being under-rewarded in comparison to others. Interestingly, Adams also stated that the employees assess a situation as inequitable even when they perceive they are being over-rewarded in comparison to others, that is, when their inputs are lower in comparison to others while the outcomes received by them are higher. In both the cases, the individual experiences an equity tension and strives to eliminate this tension by trying to restore the balance. A diagrammatic representation is given below. Equity tension created due to being under-rewarded generates a feeling of anger in an individual because the situation is seen as unfair or unjust. On the other hand, equity tension generated due to being over-rewarded results in a feeling of guilt. In the situation of perceived equity, the ratio of one's outcomes to input are perceived equal to that of others, and it is believed by the individual that justice has prevailed. Now, when you talk about the comparison frames in order to assess the ratio of inputs to outcomes, employees make 4 comparisons. First is self-inside. This comparison is done by an individual with his or her own different position within the same organization. Second is self-outside. This comparison is said to have taken up by an individual with his or her own position outside the current organization. The third is others inside. This comparison is done with another individual or group of individuals inside the individual's current organization. And last is others outside. This comparison involves one or more individuals outside the individual's present organization. Now, talking about actions taken to eliminate inequity. Employees may respond to perceived inequity by behaving in a different number of ways. They may choose one of the many factors, like by changing their inputs. Second can be by changing their outcomes. Third, by distorting perceptions of self or others. Fourth, by choosing a different referent. And fifth, by leaving the situation. Now, we talk about the assessment of the equity theory. Equity theory is one of those few theories which have garnered impressive amount of empirical support. This theory has been validated repeatedly and enjoys appreciable research support. Secondly, this theory provides important insights into employee motivation. On the other hand, a major drawback of this theory is the fact that inequity is generated as a result of being over-rewarded or overpaid and do not seem to have a significant influence on people's motivation to restore balance. People are much more tolerant of this form of inequity as compared to the inequity caused by under-reward. In addition, equity theory overlooks the other organizational rewards apart from pay in which employees look for equity. And lastly, this theory does not consider that not all people are equity sensitive. Now, coming to the next theory is the goal setting theory of motivation. Goal-setting theory was developed and refined by Edwin A. Locke in the 1960s. The theory emphasizes the important relationship between goals and performance. Simply stated, a goal is something that one intends to do or achieve. The theory states that specific and challenging goals, along with appropriate feedback, contribute to higher and better task performance. In simple words, goals provide a direction which an employee adopts in order to achieve what needs to be done. Goals also indicate how much efforts will be required to be put in so as to reach the desired level of performance. Locke proposed the intention of employees to work towards a goal is a major source of work motivation. The decision to set a goal results from dissatisfaction with current performance levels. Therefore, setting of goals should include a clear plan which directs actions and behaviors which change the unsatisfactory performance into the desired level of performance. How much motivation a goal provides depends on how the goal is set. Effective goals. First, goal acceptance or goal commitment. The prerequisite for an individual to achieve a goal is the acceptance of that goal by the individual. In order to be effective, the goals need to be accepted. Additionally, the people who are being assigned the goals must show some degree of commitment to those goals. Merely dictating goals might not be a good strategy. In order to elicit maximum commitment from the employees, they should be allowed to participate in the goal setting process. It also helps them to better understand the goals, ensure that the goals are not unreasonable, and helps them achieve the goals. Second, goal specificity. Goals are the most effective when they are specific and clearly stated. Individuals tend to perform at higher levels when stated to meet a specific and clear goal. Use of general terms such as asking employees to improve, to work harder, or to give their best does not lead to desired results, because these type of goals fail to provide them with a focused target. Specific goals are usually stated in quantifiable terms and hence let the employees know what to reach for and allow them to measure their own progress. Third is goal difficulty. A golden rule under the goal setting theory is that the goals should be difficult but attainable. The goal should neither be too difficult nor too easy. A goal which can be attained too easily will fail to motivate the employees and hence not bring about the desired increments in performance. On the other hand, a too difficult to attain goal which is beyond an individual's capacity also fails in its purpose. It would prevent the employee from attaining the required level and hence might result in low self-confidence. The next is feedback. Feedback on progress towards the goal is another important aspect of a successful goal-setting approach. Feedback helps the workers to know their progress and level of achievement in a timely manner. It also helps in rectifying any shortcomings on the path to achieve the decided goal and hence many times prevents futile efforts in a wrong direction. Now coming to the assessment of goal setting theory. Goal setting theory is one of the most popular theories in use due to the wide support provided by extensive empirical research and constant redefining by the theorists. Another major advantage for this theory is its relative simplicity as compared to other theories. Goal setting has been found to inspire individuals and is a critical key to self-management. Apart from this, the goal setting theory provides immense scope for practical application in organizations for setting meaningful goals and befitting rewards and incentive for their employees. One major drawback of this theory is its failure to discuss the issue of goal conflict, which may have a detrimental effect on performance. Also, there has been no evidence that hard and specific goals lead to increased job satisfaction. Another criticism faced by this theory came from its presupposition that an individual is committed to the goal. Finally, this theory is culture bound and aligns well with North American cultures. Now let's discuss the next theory, which is the Porter-Lawler model of motivation. This model of work motivation was proposed by Lyman Porter and Edward Lawler in 1968. This model is essentially an extended and refined form of Victor Vroom's expectancy model. It is a motivational model which directly deals with the complex relationship between satisfaction and work performance. It is a more comprehensive model than Vroom's model. It is a multivariate model which tries to address the relationship between job attitudes and job performance. This model rejects the conventional way of equating satisfaction and performance. It deals with multiple variables, hence we call it as a multivariate model. It includes motivation, satisfaction and performance. Now let's talk about the assumptions of Porter-Lawler model. The Porter-Lawler model is based upon 4 basic assumptions about human behavior. These are: first, individual behavior is a resultant of the influence of a number of factors present within the individual as well as in the environment. Second, human beings think rationally while making decisions. In organizations, their behavior is a result of their conscious decisions. Third, different people have different needs, desires and goals. Fourth, individuals choose between alternate behaviors on the basis of their expectations so as to lead to a desired outcome. Now, elements of Porter-Lawler model. This model suggests that motivation does not directly lead to performance. Instead, it is moderated by traits, abilities and role perceptions. The entire process is a complex interplay of following elements like effort. Effort is what an individual puts into a job. It refers to the amount of energy exerted by an individual on a job. Second is the reward. Reward is what an individual expects in exchange of his or her efforts. They consciously try to figure out whether the rewards they are likely to receive are attractive to them. The third is perceived effort reward probability. Before putting in any efforts, people try to evaluate the possibility that their efforts would result in a certain level of performance, which in turn would lead to the rewards desired by them. In other words, the effort put in by people is dependent on the effort-reward probability and reward valence. The fourth is performance. Performance is a cumulative resultant of an individual's efforts, abilities, traits, role perceptions. Amount of efforts directly influence performance, and this effort-performance relationship is moderated by abilities and traits. The fifth is satisfaction. Satisfaction results from rewards received after performance. If the received rewards are perceived as equitable, then the individual feels satisfied, otherwise it leads to dissatisfaction. Now coming to the assessment of Porter-Lawler model. Porter-Lawler model depicts the relationships diagrammatically rather than mathematically, which makes it easier to understand. The role of rewards in creating satisfaction has been highlighted, which was previously ignored. It is also more comprehensive than Vroom's model, as it consists of more number of variables. Most importantly, this model has received sufficient empirical support over years. The comprehensiveness of the model has also resulted in its criticism for being overly complex. This model has also been criticized for its lack of impact on actual human resource management and practices. Now coming to the summary, contemporary theories of work motivation are more comprehensive in their approach and hence have widened the scope of application to real life. The expectancy theory of motivation has highlighted the role of expectancy, instrumentality and valence of rewards for work motivation. The equity theory has approached work motivation from the standpoint of the inputs put in a job and outcomes received by the employees and their perception of a fair and equitable input-outcome ratio in respect of others. Goal-setting theory primarily focuses on how clear, specific and hard but attainable goals can improve performance and hence work motivation. The Porter-Lawler model includes multiple variables like motivation, performance and satisfaction and tries to establish a relationship between them on the basis of effort performance and effort reward probability and reward valence.